This has been the total opposite of like an overnight success story. So I think I am prepared.
For me, it's like I had this, like, instead of like having a record that exploded, like I did a steady 10 years. Nothing was ever like part of like like how you're supposed to do it. Hi, this is Tove Lo, aka Tove Lo.
Kind of treat my songs as, you know, quite like journals a little bit, you know.
There's a strange thing that happens in pop music. Sometimes the person responsible for the most addictive, chart-dominating, soul-destroyingly catchy song isn't even the one singing it. They're not on the cover art, they're not in the music video, they're not even listed in the YouTube comment section because they're not considered the face of the hit. Welcome to the world of the pop music pen game. Charli XCX,
Who's feeling so Julia?
Bebe Rexha
Slay!
and Tove Lo, or should I say Tove Lo, are all names you now recognize as pop artists, weird fashion icons, or whatever the internet decides they are this week. But before they were front and center, before the labels tried to rebrand them into marketable pop stars, they were songwriters. And not just any songwriters, they were hitmakers, writing hooks, verses, and bridges that carried other people's careers before they could even launch their own. And that's the part no one talks about. Hello everybody, it's Nessi. Welcome back to the channel, or welcome if you're new. In today's video, we're diving into the world of songwriters, specifically Charli XCX, Bebe Rexha, and
Tove Lo.
By the way, there's a huge debate on how to pronounce her name. She's Swedish, and the Swedish way to pronounce her name is Tove Lo, but she said that Tove Lo is her stage name and it's the westernized way to say her name.
I kind of adopted the international way, which was Tove Lo.
So for the sake of this video, I'm gonna keep saying Tove Lo. But anyways, this video isn't just about these three pop stars. It's about the grind before the glam and how writing, real writing, is what gave them a seat at the table. So without further ado, let's dive in. Before Charli XCX was shaping the sound of futuristic pop and becoming the blueprint for a new generation of experimental artists, she was ghostwriting your favorite songs. And not just any songs, era-defining songs. Let's rewind to 2012. Charli was 19, already signed to Atlantic Records, and still trying to find her place in the world of mainstream pop. Her aesthetic was too goth for bubblegum pop and too experimental for radio, so naturally the label didn't know what to do with her. But then something happened that changed everything. Charli co-wrote a song called I Love It. It had all the attitude, chaos, and energy she was known for, but instead of keeping it for herself, the track ended up in the hands of Icona Pop. And no, this wasn't some last-minute giveaway. This was a strategic move, one that showed Charli knew how to play the long game. She wasn't just thinking about making noise, she was thinking about getting in the room, about planting planting seeds in the industry. And it worked. I Love It became a massive hit, going multi-platinum, dominating charts, commercials, and late-night sets. It was a cultural moment. And yet, the average person had no idea Charli XCX was behind it. Even now, people still associate that song with icona pop. But here's the thing, Charli didn't just write the song, she actually demoed it.
No one's ever heard this demo before. This is exclusive shit.
I got this feeling on the summer day when you were gone.
And there's one thing very obvious, the now iconic chorus, that's all Charli. It's her melody, her phrasing, her chaotic spirit. Icona Pop just borrowed it. To put it bluntly, Charli made the cake, lit the candles, and Icona Pop walked in and just blew them out. And then she did it again. Fast forward to 2014, the peak of Iggy Azalea's questionable rhyme, Fancy, drops.
I'm so fancy.
But this time, Charli was actually featured on the track, and if you really think about it, the only memorable part of the song is Charli's hook. Not Iggy's verses, not her questionable cultural cosplay. The part everyone actually liked was the I'm So Fancy chorus sung by Charli. Fancy hit #1 on the Billboard Hot 100, stayed there for 7 weeks, and was everywhere. But Charli wasn't being introduced as a breakout songwriter. She was still that girl featuring on Iggy's song. It's almost laughable how often the industry underestimated her. And yet, instead of chasing radio or becoming the next cookie cutter pop star, Charli went full chaos mode. She dropped her own project, Sucker,
You catch my eye.
#1 Angel,
I'm a dreamer. Step out the beamer. About to
and later Pop 2.
look it.
Which were less mainstream hits but more aligned with Charli's actual style.
I wish you gave me a reason that you would.
She stopped writing for others and started writing for herself, with herself in mind. She leaned into her weirdness, her love for glitchy sounds, her obsession with the underground, and slowly but surely she built a cult following that didn't just love her for the hits she wrote for other people, they loved her for being unapologetically Charli.
That's when I felt like I really had a hardcore fan base, because it was me and them. We were the people engaging in the conversations around my work and the culture around my work, and kind of that conversation was, you know, generating the small level of hype and buzz that those projects got, you know, right, internet core, that kind of thing.
By the way, here are some of the songs that Charli wrote for other artists.
I'm so sick of that same old love. That shit, it tears me. I know you don't like the way I touch. Back up, do it slow-mo. I love it when you call me señorita.
Today, Charli XCX is seen as one of the most influential pop artists of her generation, not because she played the industry game, but because she basically took over it.
I couldn't play the game at the beginning. I couldn't do it. I couldn't force myself to be molded. I couldn't do it. It was like every fiber in my body was saying no.
She started off writing for the mainstream, then used that access to build her own universe outside of it. Charli XCX is what happens when the industry's secret weapon gets tired of being in the shadows and decides to start firing shots on her own terms.
This came to slay. Madonna 2019. Just wait, you don't know.
Bebe Rexha's story is basically what happens when the industry lets you into the party but forgets to give you a name tag. Like, imagine being responsible for one of the biggest songs of the 2010s and people still act like you just showed up. Let's rewind to 2013. Bebe co-wrote this song.
Friends with the monster that's under my bed.
Yes, the one by Eminem and Rihanna that went number 1 in over a dozen countries. Bebe didn't just write it, she sang the original chorus on the demo.
I'm friends with the monster that's under my bed.
And when Rihanna sang it in the final version, she basically imitated Bebe's tone, note for note.
Where Eminem said, I love the song, but I want Rihanna's voice on it.
Yeah, Rihanna's
How did you
voice on
cope
it.
with that?
Rihanna's voice on it, but I want to keep the Well, think about it. I was just like, I just turned 20, you know what I mean? And I didn't know any. When you're younger and you're ready and you write such a big song and everybody wants it, you're selfish, And I see now that that song opened so many doors for me.
In interviews, Bebe has been open about how excited she was to have that song blow up, but here's the kicker. She didn't get a headline, she did not get a vocal credit, she got a publishing check and some new industry clout, but the world had no idea who she was.
If I would just stand on Hollywood Boulevard and be like, hey, do you know who Bebe Rexha is? I feel like a lot of people would not know that they're actually talking to me. But if I were to play my songs for them, they would know the songs, yeah.
And this is where the pattern starts. Bebe would go on to co-write songs for Selena Gomez,
Listen the way you hold yourself. You gotta know you're something.
Nick Jonas, Tinashe.
All hands on deck. All in the fun.
She was even part of a short-lived girl group called Black Cards.
My first record deal was Decadence Records, which is Pete Wentz's label, through Island Def Jam with L.A. Reid. And I was signed, that was my first record deal. And we had a band, we put out terrible music. But I learned a lot.
It was supposed to be this cool fusion of electropop and punk energy, and Bebe was the lead vocalist. It didn't take off, but it gave her something even more valuable, the realization that if she wanted longevity, she needed to write her own way in. Cut to 2015, and Bebe finally gets a taste of visibility with Hey Mama.
I wanna hear you calling my name like, hey, mama.
You know, the one with David Guetta, Nicki Minaj, and Afrojack. Bebe sang the entire chorus, but was originally left off the track credits. No feature, no spotlight, absolutely nothing. People thought the vocals were Nicki Minaj using autotune. That's how anonymous Bebe's voice was. It took a fan-led campaign to get Bebe's name added to the credits. So yeah, fan pressure was more effective than the label who put the song out. But Bebe did not back down. She went from ghostwriter to reluctant pop star, and then finally to a name people recognized, sort of. Her 2017 song, Meant to Be, became an unexpected country hit.
If it's meant to be, it'll be, it'll be, baby.
It spent 50 weeks at number 1 on the Billboard Hot Country chart. That's not a typo, 50 weeks, yes. And yet, people still talk about her like she's a new artist every time she drops a single. Bebe's entire brand has been shaped by this weird tension between being everywhere and being unknown. I don't know why, like she's performed at the Grammys, written a number 1 single for Rihanna, and scored a multi-platinum hit in country music, and she still gets introduced as up-and-coming. You know what's exhausting? Being the foundation of pop music and constantly having to prove you belong on the stage. And this doesn't even touch on the body shaming she's dealt with, as well as the ageist comments or the flat-out disrespect from radio programmers who told her she was too old for their target audience.
You can have your own opinions when it comes to somebody else's body, but keep them to yourself.
Let's talk about her recent music. Still pop perfection, songs like Sacrifice
I'ma need those eyes focusing on me.
and Heart Wants What It Wants show that she hasn't lost her songwriting touch, but because they're not tied to a male DJ or a viral trend, they unfortunately get less attention. Bebe is the blueprint for every artist who's been behind the curtain, only to realize the curtain is rigged. She didn't ride the fame wave, she built the wave and then had to scream for people to notice she was surfing it too. So yeah, you may not have seen her name in the spotlight, but if you've ever heard a hit that made you feel something, there's a good chance Bebe Rexha wrote it.
It's fucking hot, and I'm getting like a front wedgie from these pants, but they look awesome.
And then there's Tove Lo. You probably know her as the messy, emotionally raw pop girl who made oversharing cool again. But before she became your favorite sad girl's favorite sad girl, she was just another songwriter in the shadows. Tove Lo started out in Stockholm, Sweden, aka the unofficial capital of pop songwriting. This is the place that gave us Max Martin, ABBA, Robin, and basically half of Katy Perry's career. Tove studied at the same music school as Icona Pop and joined a girl band in her early days, but quickly realized she hated being controlled, so she pivoted behind the scenes. She started writing for other people, like a lot of other people. One of the earliest credits was Ready for the Weekend by Icona Pop. And yes, it sounds like a hangover in the best way possible. She was also behind Sparks by Hilary Duff. Yes, the Hilary Duff. Tove Lo gave Lizzie McGuire her first mature pop hit, but while she was writing for others, she was secretly writing something else. That song wasn't written for anyone else. It was too personal, too messy, too Tove. She said in interviews that it came from a real breakup and a real spiral.
When I started writing it, it was after a very period of just, making a mess of things. Like having fun, yeah, but also, really trying to numb the pain from this relationship that I'd been obviously still wanted to kind of also bring back the pain of things. Like in the chorus was just very open and honest, here's what I'm doing to keep you out of my head. Yeah.
Because of that, the music industry wasn't sure what to do with the song. Labels thought it was too dark, too graphic, and too real, but then it blew up. First on SoundCloud, then on Swedish radio, then on every teenager's Tumblr dashboard. Suddenly, emotional honesty was trending, and Tove Lo was the face of it. Habits hit number 3 on the Billboard Hot 100 in 2014. Not bad for a song about self-destruction. What made her different from other songwriters turned artists is that she didn't polish her image to match the charts. Her music videos were chaotic. Her lyrics were more like unfiltered diary entries.
Like for me, it's like I kind of treat my songs as, quite like journals a little bit, I write down my fears and my flaws and my feelings, just all kind of crisscross together.
She would flash the crowd during shows, wear no makeup in performances, and openly talk about therapy, trauma, and sex. She wasn't trying to be America's sweetheart, she was just trying to survive, and that made her relatable, especially to people who were tired of bubblegum pop pretending everything was fine. Tove Lo kept writing for others even after she made it big. She co-wrote Ellie Goulding's Love Me Like You Do.
Love me like you do, la la, love me like you do.
The song became a global hit and Tove earned a Grammy nomination. Not bad for someone the industry once called too dark to market. And here's the twist, Tove Lo never stopped writing. Her later albums like Lady Wood, Blue Lips, and Sunshine Kitty doubled down on her emotional songwriting. Even when the charts moved on, she did not chase trends. She just kept writing, and whether she's behind the scenes or center stage, one thing is for sure, Tove Lo isn't just a songwriter, she's a storyteller, and pop music is better because of this. So, what did we learn from all of this? Charli XCX, Bebe Rexha, and Tove Lo were told they weren't mainstream enough or too edgy or better behind the scenes, and instead of listening, they build their own platforms. This isn't just about music, it's about ownership. When you write your songs, you own the narrative. You don't get filtered through someone else's image or story or brand. You are the brand. You're the voice and the pen. And for a long time, that made people uncomfortable. But the tide is turning. These women didn't just write their way in, they stayed in. They outlasted trends, they outwrote their doubters, and now they're finally getting the flowers they should have had all along. That's it for today's video. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more content like this one. And let me know your thoughts in the comments. Who's your favorite songwriter? And did you know that some of the biggest songs in pop music were written by these three artists? And as always, if you have any suggestions for future videos, please let me know. I saw a few comments suggesting JoJo. Maybe that'll be my next video. And with that being said, thank you for being here, thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you very soon.